didn't land on this video by accident. Maybe you've been waiting, not just for days or weeks, but for what feels like forever. Waiting for something to change, for a door to open, for the pain to ease. You've smiled when no one saw the weight behind it. You've said Alhamdulillah even when your heart was breaking. And maybe, just maybe, you whispered to Allah last night in the dark, Ya Allah, please, I can't carry this much longer. If that's you, then listen closely. Because this moment, right here, may be the reminder your soul has been searching for. Not from me, not from this screen, but from the one who never leaves you, even when it feels like everything else has. So breathe, let your shoulders drop, let the noise quiet, and just be still, because maybe, just maybe, your break has finally come. Waiting. Such a simple word, just 6 letters, but anyone who has truly waited knows. It doesn't feel small at all. It feels heavy, endless, lonely. You wake up each day hoping something will shift, that the email will come, that the call will happen, that your dua, the one you've whispered again and again, will finally be answered. But instead, it's quiet, and in that quiet, doubts begin to whisper. Maybe it's never going to happen. Maybe you're not worthy. Maybe Allah has forgotten you. And that is the heaviest part. Because when you believe in Allah, you know He can do anything. You know He can turn things around in a heartbeat. So when He doesn't, it hurts in a very specific, sacred way. You begin to question not just the situation, but yourself. You wonder if your tears are being seen, if your patience even counts, if this silence is a test or a punishment. But listen closely, my dear friend. Allah never wastes your waiting, not a second, not a single drop of tear, not a single aching breath. What feels like delay is often divine design. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Allah doesn't say, wait because I'm ignoring you. He says, wait because I'm building something better for you than what you asked for. And sometimes, that better thing isn't a job or a person or a miracle. Sometimes, it's you. Sometimes the break you're waiting for, though, is the break happening inside you. The break from fear, the break from attachment, the break from needing control. Because the truth is, what you're waiting for is also waiting for you. To become strong enough, soft enough, surrendered enough. To receive it without breaking under its weight. You see, Allah's timing is not like ours. We look at the clock. He looks at the heart. And when the heart is ready, when the storm inside begins to quiet, that's when the external doors start to open. So if you're tired, if you feel like nothing is moving, if you've been patient for so long that it almost hurts to hope, just hold on a little longer, because the wait isn't empty. It's full of unseen work, silent shifts, and divine alignment. You may not see it yet, but every second is a stitch in a greater tapestry. And one day, very soon, you'll look back and whisper, Subhanallah, now I understand why it took so long. Silence. It can feel so loud when you're desperate for answers. You pray sincerely. You cry quietly. You speak to Allah in sujood with a trembling voice. But the heavens remain silent, no sign, no change, no sudden miracle. And deep inside, a whisper begins. Why isn't Allah replying? This silence, it can feel unbearable. Because when you truly believe that Allah is Al-Mujib, the one who responds, you expect His answer to come quickly, loudly, clearly, but sometimes Allah answers in silence. Not because He hasn't heard you, not because He doesn't care, but because He's speaking in a language your soul has to slow down to understand. You see, silence from people often means neglect. But silence from Allah is never empty. It's full of mercy, full of wisdom, full of protection you don't yet see. There are moments in life when Allah holds back the answer, so He can give you more than what you asked for. And sometimes what feels like no answer is actually Him rebuilding something inside you. Patience, humility, trust that your future self will desperately need, because He sees what's coming. You don't. And so He delays, not to harm you, but to heal you before the blessing arrives. Imagine this. You're asking for rain, but your soil is not yet ready. If the water came now, it wouldn't nourish. It would drown. So Allah waits. He softens the ground. He protects the seed. And when the time is just right, not a second early, not a moment too late, the rain comes. Not because you begged louder, but because you were finally ready. And sometimes, Allah's silence is His way of inviting you closer. He draws you into longer du'as, deeper sujood, more heartfelt tears in the middle of the night. If He had answered immediately, would you still have turned to Him with such longing? Would your heart have softened this much? You see, what you call delay might actually be connection. What you call distance might actually be closeness in disguise. And then there are the times Allah stays silent to protect you from something you think you want. You cry over a door He closed, only to realize later, behind that door was a storm you could never survive. That's the mercy of silence. It hides what you can't handle until you're strong enough to face it. So if you're waiting in silence right now, don't mistake it for absence. Don't confuse stillness for abandonment. Allah is not ignoring you, He's near, closer than your own heartbeat, closer than your worries, closer than the tears you haven't cried yet. And He is working in ways you cannot see, through timings you cannot predict. Your job, stay still, stay silent, keep trusting, because when Allah finally breaks the silence, it's never random, it's never rushed, it's always right. And when it comes, you'll whisper to yourself, "Now I understand the silence. It was love all along." Sometimes before the biggest breakthroughs in life, things feel the heaviest, the most still, the most uncertain. But if you look closely, not with your eyes but with your heart, you'll begin to notice Allah leaves little signs, soft, quiet whispers that your break is nearer than you think. It starts inside of you. A strange peace begins to settle in your heart. Even if nothing outside has changed, you're still waiting, still uncertain, still tired. But somewhere deep inside, you feel calm. You're not fighting anymore, you're just surrendered. That's not giving up. That's tawakkul, trusting Allah even when you don't understand the plan. Sometimes the sign is that your heart doesn't panic the way it used to. You used to spiral over delays, fear the silence. But now, you quietly say, "Alhamdulillah," even when you don't have what you asked for yet. That's not weakness. That's strength rooted in faith. Another sign? Opportunities begin to show up in small, unexpected ways. Maybe someone mentions your name in a room you weren't even in. Maybe a message reaches you that gives you the exact clarity you needed. Maybe the door you were banging on doesn't open, but a different one, softer and quieter, swings wide with ease. Allah works like that. He opens paths you never thought to look at, when your heart is finally ready to walk them. And sometimes, the sign is that your past doesn't hurt the same way anymore. The memory is still there, but it doesn't sting. It doesn't pull you back like it used to. You feel lighter, like something inside you has been released. That too is a sign, because healing always comes before rising. And then there's the simplest yet most powerful sign of all. You didn't give up. You're still here, still praying, still whispering du'as in the dark, still choosing hope, even if it's flickering like a tiny flame. Do you think Allah doesn't see that? He does. And He responds in ways more beautiful than you can imagine. You may not have your break yet, but the signs are showing. The soil is shifting, the air is changing, the rain is close. And when it comes, you'll feel it not just in your hands, but in your heart, like the calm that arrives before dawn. Soft, quiet, certain. Because your break is never just about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. And maybe you're almost there. We live in a world that worships speed, quick results, instant replies, overnight success, and when something takes too long, we start to wonder, why isn't it happening for me? What am I doing wrong? But Allah doesn't work by the clocks we set. He works by wisdom, not by our deadlines. Sometimes what feels late to us is right on time in the divine plan. Because Allah doesn't just look at what you want. He looks at the whole picture. What's ahead of you, what's behind you, what your heart can handle, and what your soul still needs to grow. So if something hasn't happened yet, if your dua hasn't been answered in the way you expected, know this. It's not because Allah is unaware. It's because His timing is perfect. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. Think back to something you once desperately wanted, and it didn't happen. You cried, you begged, you felt forgotten. But now, years later, you see why it had to be that way. Maybe it was protection, maybe it was redirection, maybe it was just preparation. The delay wasn't a denial, it was mercy, disguised as waiting. Because sometimes the delay is not in the blessing, it's in you becoming ready for it. Allah knows the exact moment when that job, that healing, that opportunity will no longer harm you but help you. He sees the moment when that relationship you're praying for will no longer be a distraction but a source of peace. And He knows when your heart is soft enough to receive what He has written for you, not with attachment but with gratitude. You may feel like you're standing still, but in the unseen, Allah is moving everything into place. He's arranging hearts, shifting circumstances, clearing paths, building strength inside of you that you'll need for what's coming. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. It's like the moment before dawn. The sky is dark, everything is silent, and then, without warning, light spills across the horizon. That's how Allah works. You wait, you trust, you pray. And suddenly, what you were waiting for shows up. Not a second early, not a moment too late. And when it does, you'll realize, if it had come earlier, you wouldn't have been ready. You might have mishandled it, or misunderstood it, or missed the deeper beauty inside it. Allah's delay is always for a reason, a wisdom, a mercy. So next time you feel the ache of waiting, remind your heart. Allah is never late. He is Al-Hakim, the most wise. He is Al-Latif, the most subtle. And He is Al-Mujib, the one who always responds. Not when you think it's time, but when the time is right. And when that moment comes, it will be so beautiful you'll whisper through grateful tears, "Now I understand why it took so long." Hey, yes, you, the one listening quietly, the one who didn't come here by accident. Maybe you're here because you've been holding on for a long time. And you're just so tired now. Tired of waiting. Tired of holding in tears. Tired of telling everyone you're okay when you're barely making it through the day. Maybe you're the strong one in everyone's eyes, the one who smiles, the one who keeps going, the one who says Alhamdulillah even when no one asks. But deep down, you've been aching, wondering if anyone sees the weight you carry, wondering if Allah still hears you. I want you to know something. From my heart to yours, He does. He saw you before you ever clicked this video. He knew exactly what you'd be feeling in this moment. And He placed this message in front of you. Not randomly, but purposefully. Because He hasn't forgotten you. Not even for a second. Every tear you've cried, He caught it. Every silent dua you whispered, He heard it. Every night you couldn't sleep because of the thoughts racing in your head, He stayed with you. And even now, in this very moment, He's closer to you than your heartbeat, closer than your fears, closer than your pain. So if you're still wondering, when will it be my turn? When will the break come? Maybe this is your sign. Maybe this, right now, is your moment of peace. Not because everything around you has changed, but because something inside you just softened. And that is where real change begins. You don't have to carry it all by yourself anymore. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to keep pretending to be strong. You can let go now. You can breathe again. You can trust the one who created your heart to take care of everything it holds. And I know it hasn't been easy, but you made it here. You kept going. You held on, even when your hands were shaking. That's not weakness, that's faith. And I want you to be proud of yourself for surviving the days that tried to break you, for choosing to believe in light, even in the darkest nights. Allah sees your effort, and He will reward it in ways you can't imagine. So don't give up. Don't stop praying. Don't stop believing your break is coming, not because you deserve pain, but because Allah promised ease after hardship, and He never breaks His promise. So for now, just be still. Just breathe. Let Allah take over, because He will. And when He does, you'll look back at this moment and smile through tears, knowing this was the beginning of your breakthrough. You're not alone. You were never alone, and you never will be. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Let the weight of the world slip off your shoulders just for a few seconds. You've been carrying so much. You've been holding on when no one knew. And yet, you're still here, still hoping, still trusting. That alone is a sign of your strength, and more importantly, a sign of Allah's mercy over you. So before we end, I want to make a dua, not just with my voice, but from both our hearts, together. Ya Allah, to the one who hears what the heart does not say, to the one who sees tears fall in the dark. We come to you tired, Sibum, but trusting. You know what we carry. You know what keeps us awake at night. You know what we've buried so deep even we don't have the words for it anymore. Ya Allah, we ask you for a break, not just in our lives but in our hearts. A break from fear, a break from confusion, a break from carrying what was never ours to hold alone. Grant us peace, the kind that only you can give. Peace that settles in the chest like dawn after a long night. Peace that says, I don't know what the future holds, but I trust the one who does. Ya Rab, if something is written for us, make us ready for it. And if it's not, remove it gently, without pain, without regret. Let us walk away with grace and walk towards what you've prepared with hope. Give strength to the ones who feel weak. Give light to those who feel lost. Give comfort to those who are secretly breaking. And for every person listening right now, grant them a sign, a small, quiet, unmistakable sign that you are near, that you are working, that they are not forgotten. Let this moment, this breath, this very second go be the beginning of their relief. Long pause. Amin. And if no one has told you lately, I'm proud of you. For holding on, for showing up, for not giving up. May Allah give you more peace than you've ever known. And may your break come soon, in a way so beautiful that it makes you forget the wait. Until then, stay still, stay silent, and watch His plan unfold. Because it will, in the most perfect way.